Throughout history, there have been accounts of individuals who claim to possess knowledge of events that have yet to occur. These individuals, often referred to as time leapers, describe experiences where they recall memories from a future that has not yet unfolded in the present timeline. Some of these accounts involve memories of events that later come true, while others detail entire lives lived before being reset to an earlier point in time. This phenomenon, though largely dismissed by mainstream science, continues to intrigue researchers and skeptics alike. The testimonies of time leapers often fall into two main categories: those who recall specific details of the future, and those who remember entire past lives that seem to have occurred in an alternate version of reality. These accounts raise fundamental questions about the nature of time, memory, and consciousness. One of the most common forms of time leap experiences involves individuals who report knowing events before they happen. These experiences range from small premonitions about everyday occurrences to profound insights into major global events. For example, some people claim to have vivid dreams of accidents, disasters, or personal encounters, only to witness these exact scenarios play out days, months, or even years later. While skeptics argue that such cases can be attributed to coincidence or subconscious pattern recognition, those who have experienced these phenomena describe them as strikingly detailed and emotionally intense, far beyond what could be explained by chance. In some cases, time leapers describe a phenomenon similar to déjà vu, but on a much larger scale. Instead of fleeting moments of familiarity, they recall entire conversations, locations, and decisions before they occur. Some even report using their knowledge to alter the outcome of situations, avoiding accidents, making different choices, or influencing others in ways that seem to change the trajectory of events. If these accounts are to be believed, it suggests that time is not as linear as commonly perceived, but instead operates in a more fluid or multidimensional manner. Another category of testimonies comes from individuals who remember living out extended periods of time in the future before suddenly waking up back in their past selves. These accounts often follow a pattern where a person experiences years of life progression, only to find themselves back at a much earlier point in their timeline. The psychological impact of these experiences is profound, as individuals report the difficulty of adjusting to a reality that no longer matches their lived memories. Some recount relationships, careers, or major life events that never came to pass in their new present. Others describe learning skills, languages, or knowledge that they previously had no exposure to, yet somehow retained from their supposed time leap. The implications of these experiences challenge our conventional understanding of time. If individuals can recall detailed memories of a future that has not yet happened, it suggests that time may not be a fixed, linear progression, but rather an intricate web of possibilities and alternate realities. Some theories propose that consciousness itself may be capable of transcending time, accessing information from the future in ways that science has yet to explain. Quantum physics has long suggested that time is not as rigid as we perceive it. Concepts such as the block universe theory propose that past, present, and future all coexist simultaneously, with time being a human construct rather than an absolute reality. In this context, time leapers may be experiencing moments of consciousness outside the usual constraints of time, tapping into events that have yet to manifest in their current timeline. While the scientific community remains skeptical of such claims, the persistence of these accounts across cultures and generations suggests that there may be more to the phenomenon than mere coincidence or psychological illusions. Reports of prophetic dreams, déjà vu experiences, and altered timelines continue to surface, leaving open the question of whether human consciousness holds an untapped potential to access the past and future in ways we do not yet fully understand. In the next section, we will explore specific testimonies from individuals who claim to have lived through time leaps, examining the commonalities in their experiences and considering the possible explanations that bridge the gap between science and the unexplained. Continuing from the previous section, we now explore real testimonies of individuals who claim to have experienced time leaps. These accounts come from various backgrounds and cultures, yet they share striking similarities in their descriptions. Some recall brief glimpses of the future, while others claim to have lived entire lives before being reset to an earlier point in time. By examining these testimonies, we can begin to understand the broader implications of what it might mean to possess memories of the future. One of the most well-documented types of time leap experiences involves individuals who predict future events with remarkable accuracy. While some people claim to have occasional premonitions, others describe a persistent awareness of events that have not yet occurred. A famous example involves a man who, from a young age, consistently knew small details about the future. He would mention specific events before they happened, such as the sudden death of a family member or an unexpected job offer his friend would receive. At first, those around him dismissed these statements as coincidences, but as his predictions continued to prove accurate, people began to take notice. He described his ability not as mere intuition, but as a genuine memory of something he had already experienced. For him, time did not unfold in a straight line, but as a looping path where he had already walked ahead. His memories of the future often felt as vivid as those of the past, leading to the unsettling realization that he was constantly aware of what would come next. Over time, he learned to use this knowledge to his advantage, avoiding accidents and making decisions based on what he already knew would happen. Another category of time leapers describes much longer and more complex experiences, ones in which they live for months or even years before waking up at an earlier point in time. These cases are less about foreknowledge of isolated events and more about the sensation of having fully lived through an alternate timeline. A woman once recounted how she had spent 3 years in what felt like a normal life, complete with a job, relationships, and memories of everyday activities. One night, she went to sleep as usual, only to wake up in her younger body 3 years earlier in her former bedroom. The shock of this experience was overwhelming. She remembered events that had not yet happened, places she had visited, and even people she had met who did not yet exist in her current reality. She initially assumed it had been a vivid dream, but as time passed, she began to see the same people and events unfold exactly as she remembered. The most unnerving part of her experience was the realization that she could make different choices this time around. She avoided mistakes she had previously made and took a different career path. She found herself existing in a reality that was both familiar and unfamiliar at the same time. Such cases raise profound questions about the nature of time and consciousness. If time were purely linear, as most scientific models suggest, then these experiences should not be possible. However, if time operates in a more fluid or nonlinear fashion, it might allow for consciousness to move in ways we do not yet understand. Some theories suggest that our awareness may occasionally detach from the present and experience an alternate reality before returning to its original point in the timeline. Interestingly, some researchers have found links between time leap experiences and altered states of consciousness. Cases of near-death experiences, NDEs, and lucid dreams have shown that individuals sometimes describe similar sensations of time distortion. In these states, people report experiencing entire lifetimes in mere moments, suggesting that our perception of time is not as fixed as we assume. If time leapers are somehow tapping into this altered perception, they may be experiencing a phenomenon that science has yet to fully explore. The psychological effects of time leaps can be significant. Many who have experienced them describe a deep sense of alienation as they struggle to reconcile their memories with their current reality. Relationships, friendships, and even their own identities become uncertain. One individual who lived through a long-term time leap described the emotional difficulty of losing the connections he had built in his previous timeline. He knew the conversations he had shared with certain people, yet in this new reality, those moments had not yet occurred. The feeling of knowing the future was both empowering and isolating, as he had to carefully navigate his actions to avoid disrupting events in unpredictable ways. Some researchers speculate that these experiences may be related to concepts found in quantum physics. Theories such as the many worlds interpretation propose that multiple realities exist simultaneously, each representing a different version of events. If this is the case, time leapers may not be predicting the future in a single timeline, but rather accessing memories from an alternate version of reality. This could explain why some events unfold exactly as remembered, while others diverge in unexpected ways. Despite the fascinating nature of these experiences, mainstream science remains skeptical. Critics argue that these cases could be explained by memory errors, psychological conditions, or even suggestibility. Some believe that people who report time leaps may be unconsciously reconstructing past events to fit their expectations of the future. Others propose that déjà vu, which is a well-documented phenomenon, may be mistaken for time leap memories, giving the illusion of foreknowledge when it is simply the brain recognizing patterns. Nevertheless, the persistence of these accounts across cultures and generations suggests that time leaping is not merely a modern myth, but a phenomenon deeply ingrained in human experience. The fact that people continue to report similar stories, despite having no prior knowledge of others' experiences, points to the possibility that time may not be as straightforward as we assume. If time leaping is real, what could be its purpose? Some theories suggest that it may be a natural mechanism of consciousness, allowing individuals to correct mistakes or gain knowledge from future experiences. Others propose that it could be an evolutionary trait, helping humans make better decisions by accessing information beyond their immediate reality. Regardless of the cause, the accounts of those who claim to have lived through time leaps challenge our understanding of existence itself. Whether they are the result of subconscious processes, glitches in perception, or something far more mysterious, the testimonies of time leapers continue to inspire curiosity and debate. As science advances, we may one day have a clearer understanding of these phenomena. Until then, the stories of those who remember the future remain a compelling mystery, one that invites us to reconsider the nature of time, memory, and the human mind.